I used to believe honesty was the bedrock of love. Maybe that belief made me blind to her deceit. Her name was Rachel. We met at a friend's barbecue, two strangers pretending not to notice each other while secretly doing just that. She laughed too loud, talked too fast, and carried that unpredictable spark that made the world feel alive. I was hooked from the start. Within months, we were inseparable. Within a year, married. If someone had told me then that she'd been unfaithful from the beginning, I would have laughed. Rachel was affectionate, impulsive, always reaching for my hand when we crossed the street. How could any of that be fake? But love can be a beautiful disguise for rot. The first crack showed up one Saturday morning, about 3 years in. I woke early. The house was silent except for the faint hum of the fridge. Her phone lay on the counter, vibrating with notifications. I had never checked it, not out of blind trust but respect. That morning, though, something in me hesitated.
Call it instinct.
The name flashing on the screen wasn't familiar.
Ty.
The preview read, "Last night was worth every risk." My stomach turned. I didn't open the message. I just stood there watching the screen fade to black, the air thick with suspicion. When Rachel came down, she smiled, kissed my cheek, and poured coffee, like nothing had changed. That calm, easy smile shattered me more than the message itself. I didn't confront her. Not yet. I went to work, every thought replaying in slow motion. The late meetings, the new perfume, the nights she said she was exhausted. By the time I got home, I'd convinced myself it was nothing. Maybe Ty was a coworker. Maybe I was paranoid. Denial is a gentle poison. It took 2 more years, a child, and countless sleepless nights before the truth finally surfaced. We were arguing about dinner, something small, stupid, when she said it. Not in rage, not with regret, but with icy calm. "You act like the perfect husband. You don't even know half of what I've done. I've been cheating on you since day one." The silence that followed was deafening. I remember standing there, frozen, the world narrowing to a blur. She didn't retract it, didn't apologize, just walked past me, mumbling about needing air. I sat on the couch, staring at our wedding photo, her in that white dress, smiling like she believed in forever. I realized then that nothing about it was real. Something inside me shut off that night. I stopped asking, stopped needing answers that wouldn't fix anything. But one thought wouldn't let me rest: Noah. Our son, 5 years old, with her eyes and my smile. At least, that's what everyone said. But after her confession, those words, "since day one," looped in my mind. I started noticing things I'd ignored, her hesitation with dates, her vague timelines. Doubt became a shadow I couldn't shake. One quiet afternoon, I took Noah's toothbrush, sealed it in a bag, and ordered a DNA kit online. I told myself it was just to silence my paranoia, to put this nightmare to rest. 2 weeks later, the results arrived. I opened the email in my car, hands trembling. The words were cold, scientific, emotionless, but to me, they screamed louder than anything I'd ever heard. The world didn't just tilt that day, it caved in. I must have read that line 100 times, waiting for the words to change. Maybe I typed the wrong code. Maybe the test was wrong. Anything but the truth staring back at me, that my DNA didn't match my son's. The air in the car felt heavy, unreal. Outside, people laughed, cars passed, life kept moving, but it all sounded distant, like a film playing behind glass. For hours, I sat there, engine off, watching my reflection in the rearview mirror. I didn't recognize him. He looked drained, older, like a man who'd lived 10 years in one afternoon. When I finally walked into the house, Rachel was on the couch, legs crossed, eyes on the TV. She glanced up, smiled faintly. "You okay?" she asked. I wanted to throw the paper at her, to scream, "How long have you known?" But no words came out. I just walked past her and into Noah's room. He was asleep, clutching his dinosaur. I stood there, watching him breathe. Whatever the test said, he was still the boy who called me dad. None of this was his fault. The next morning, I called a lawyer. I didn't tell Rachel yet, not until I had everything ready. No shouting, no chaos. Just quiet consequences. The lawyer listened, sighed. You can challenge paternity, he said, but it'll get messy. You're on the birth certificate, so she could still claim support. But emotionally, you've already made your decision. He was right. I had. That evening, Rachel came home late, reeking of cologne that wasn't mine. I was at the dining table, laptop open. She smiled weakly. You're quiet tonight. Yeah, I said. Been thinking.
About what?
Truth. Her brow furrowed. Truth. I turned the laptop so she could see the DNA report on the screen. For the first time in years, her face went pale. Her lips parted, trembling. You did a DNA test? I had to, I said, steady. You told me you'd been cheating since day one. I just needed to know how deep the lie went. Her hands shook. Lucas, it doesn't mean anything. It means everything. She reached for me, but I stepped back. Don't, I said quietly. Just don't. For the next few minutes, she cycled through every tactic: denial, tears, blame. I stayed silent. When she realized I wasn't reacting, she finally whispered, What now? Now, I said. I stopped pretending. I'll be gone by the weekend. The house is yours. Money's already transferred. Noah will be cared for. But we're done. Her face crumpled. You're just walking away? I gave a tired smile. Rachel, you walked away the moment you brought someone else into our marriage. I'm just following. That night, I packed quietly, no yelling, no drama. I took only what was mine, a few boxes, my guitar, and the wedding photo. Not because I wanted to remember her, but to remind myself who I once was. A man who believed love was stronger than deceit. The next morning, as I was leaving, Noah ran up, wrapping his arms around my leg. Daddy, where are you going? I knelt, kissed his forehead. Somewhere new, buddy. But I'll always be here when you need me. Okay, he whispered, clutching his dinosaur. Rachel stood at the door, tears streaming down, but I didn't look back. I stepped outside into the crisp morning air. For the first time in years, I felt something close to peace. They say betrayal hardens people, but it doesn't. It doesn't make you colder. It makes you clearer. You finally see people for who they are, not who you hoped they'd be. As I drove away, the past 3 years replayed in reverse. The first date, the wedding, the laughter, illusions fading like smoke. And beneath all the wreckage, I felt something unexpected: relief. Because the truth, no matter how brutal, is always better than living in a lie.